Tonight, raging Canadian wildfires caused by 88 fossil fuel companies shows a new study, and an anonymous letter causes alarm saying a Mississauga middle school is in a state of crisis. Peel School Board confirms an investigation, and we cover stories about rise in mosque attacks in Germany. Canada and Saudi Arabia re-established diplomatic ties, and the growing number of mosques in Japan. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Catherine Bullock. A new report shows fossil fuel producers are responsible for 37% of the surge in wildfires in Canada and the US. The wildfires have resulted in the loss of vast tracts of forests in the two countries. The report shows 88 major fossil fuel and cement companies are responsible for more than 1/3 of the area burned up by wildfires for the 35 years between 1986 and 2021. A co-author of the study told a Canadian media source that emissions from these companies have significantly increased wildfire activity. He says this year is the worst yet for wildfires. Estimates show this year at least 10,000 square kilometres of land in Alberta have been scorched by more than 100 wildfires. He says ongoing blazes in Canada have also consumed large tracts of land in British Columbia and Saskatchewan, forcing tens of thousands of residents to evacuate. At one point, close to 3,000 firefighters were battling blazes. The Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, while talking to a media source, says their view on the situation differs from the group who produced the study. But they agree that greenhouse gas emissions need to be brought down. Vancouver City Council will vote to give a street a secondary honorary name to remember the harm done by the Komagata Maru incident. A secondary honorary name means there will be no change in the official addresses or street signs. City staff is suggesting that Canada Place, next to Vancouver's harbour, should be given the name Komagata Maru Place. They say the waterfront location is an appropriate way to remember the racist incident against South Asians. In the year 1914, a chartered ship, Komagata Maru, arrived in Burrard Inlet in British Columbia, Canada. It carried more than 300 Sikh, Muslim and Hindu passengers. Most of them were from Punjab, India. They were not allowed to disembark, trapping them on board in cramped conditions for the next 62 days. The Canadian military then forced the ship out of the harbour. When the ship returned back to India, 19 passengers were shot dead. Many of them were either arrested or placed under house arrest. The Peel District School Board in Ontario says it is investigating conditions at a Mississauga middle school after an anonymous letter alleged the school is in a state of crisis. Board officials told a media source that the letter refers to violence by students at Tompkin Road Middle School. The school is from grade 6 to grade 8 and has about 900 students. The news comes after the letter started circulating this past Saturday on Twitter. The letter alleges teachers, custodians, supply teachers, support staff, and office administration face unsafe interactions on a daily basis. It says the students are involved in disorderly conduct, including vandalizing the office and washrooms, throwing empty cans at teachers' heads, threatening physical violence to staff and other students, and stealing. The teacher says there has been no help and the staff feels defeated. The board has told a media source it is investigating specific claims. It says a superintendent was present at the campus yesterday to support the school community. It says some students have been suspended without providing details. Canada and Saudi Arabia have agreed to restore full diplomatic ties and appoint new ambassadors, ending a 5-year-long dispute. In a statement released yesterday, Global Affairs Canada said it has decided to restore diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia to its previous level. This has been in the works since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman last year on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum in Bangkok. Canada has appointed Jean-Philippe Linteau as the new ambassador to Riyadh. Saudi Arabia had expelled the Canadian ambassador and froze investments with Canada in 2018 after Canada called on Riyadh to immediately release civil society and women's rights activists, including Samar Badawi. She is the sister of Raif Badawi, a blogger who was jailed in 2012 on charges of insulting Islam. Please stay tuned. We will be back after a short break. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan has approached the top court against the deployment of armed forces in parts of the country. He is requesting the Supreme Court to term the move unconstitutional. Khan said yesterday he's ready to talk to anyone in power. The news comes after the government has threatened to ban his party following the violence after his controversial arrest. The Pakistani defense minister told reporters yesterday that the government was considering banning Khan's party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or PTI. He says the Khan's party has attacked the very basis of the state, which cannot be tolerated. In response, Khan says he is ready to constitute a committee for talks. The embattled leader says he will continue his struggle. He says he is prepared to get arrested and that the crackdown will make his party more popular. There have been nearly 24 resignations from the leaders of his party. The latest come from PTI's former information minister. Another key aide of Khan resigned as PTI's Secretary General, but did not leave the party. Khan dubs the departures forced divorces. Khan battles more than 100 legal cases ranging from corruption, terrorism, and rioting, all of which were lodged after his ouster last year. Since being removed from power, Khan has been campaigning for snap general elections, which are due later this year. China is calling on Israel to stop encroaching on the land and resources of the Palestinian people. China's representative Geng Shuang told the UN Security Council yesterday that since the beginning of this year, Israel is continuing to build and legalize new settlements. Geng said that the Israeli settlement activities violate international law and UN security resolutions. He also pointed out that the forced entry of Israeli Security Minister Ben-Gvir into the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound for a second time this year has caused renewed tensions. Geng said Israel must stop its provocations and guarantee Muslims the right to worship. He said Israel must uphold the peace and tranquility of religious holy sites and respect the custodianship of Jordan. Geng said that recent tensions between Palestine and Israel show that a comprehensive and just solution is the only way forward. The statement includes a veiled criticism of the US's role in blocking concrete efforts to advance the Middle East peace process and preventing the Security Council from arriving at, quote, the minimum consensus on the Palestine-Israeli issue. Geng said China will continue to firmly support the Palestinian people and the establishment of a fully sovereign and independent Palestinian state. A new report on anti-discrimination shows at least 35 mosques were attacked in Germany last year. The attacks come from groups across the political spectrum. 19 of these attacks were motivated by Islamophobia, 8 by right-wing extremists. Left-wing groups account for several attacks, and anti-Turkish sentiment was the main motivation in 7 of these attacks. The report is released by the Turkish Muslim group DITIB, which stands for the Turkish Islamic Union for Religious Affairs. It has analyzed hate crimes, threats, and attacks targeting mosques and Islamic organizations in the past year in Germany. The report shows anti-Muslim violence is closely related to social and political developments in the country. The report states an increase in stigmatization and demonization of Muslims is leading to more mosque attacks. In recent years, Germany has witnessed an increase in racism and Islamophobia. It is being fueled by the propaganda of far-right groups and parties that have exploited the refugee crisis and attempted to instill fear of immigrants. Germany, with a population of over 84 million people, has the second largest Muslim population in Western Europe after France. It is home to nearly 5 million Muslims. Islam is one of the fastest growing religions in Japan. This can be seen in the growing number of mosques being established in the country. A study by a Japanese professor at Waseda University in Tokyo shows there are 113 mosques across the country. This number is up from only 15 24 years ago. He says mosques were once a rare sight in Japan, but no longer. The latest, Masjid Istiqlal Osaka, opened in Osaka last year in a former factory building. Osaka is the third most populous city in Japan. The professor says the number of Muslims in Japan is around 230,000. These numbers are due to a sharp rise in the number of Muslim converts, as well as through marriage. Another Japanese professor at Kyoto Sangyo University says the Japanese were previously unfamiliar with Muslims. He says, quote, "Now that they are our neighbors, we need to think about how to live with them in this diversifying society." Thank you for watching. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or go to our website muslimnetwork.tv to make a donation so that we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.